Well, let me give you a formal introduction on Pete Rose. You just saw him coming to bat there. It's a familiar position for him. In his 16-year career, Pete Rose has been Rookie of the Year. He has been Most Valuable Player. He's played in 11 All-Star games, 4 different World Series. He's led the league in hitting 3 times. He is one of 13 players in baseball history to have more than 3,000 hits. He has a lifetime batting average of over 300. And as we know, this past baseball season, he hit in 44 consecutive games, which is a modern Major League record, an incredible one. They call him Charlie Hustle. He's just a tremendous athlete from Cincinnati. And let's have a nice welcome now for Pete Rose. Yeah. Well, how you feeling?
I feel great. How you feel?
I
think we better clarify that. It wasn't a modern Major League record. Joe DiMaggio's 56.
Oh, that's a modern National League record, yeah.
That's the big league.
I was really pulling for you, Pete. That is a tremendous accomplishment, 44 straight.
Well, the further I got along, the easier it got, believe it or not, because everywhere I went, we were on the road playing a lot of games. It was like playing at home. You know, just like in the little clip you showed there, the people were going crazy every time I come up to bat, and they were pulling for me, but rooting for the home team to win the game. So it helped me playing on the road just as much as like I was playing at home.
But you've been playing baseball since you're about how big?
That's about size.
That big?
Yeah.
Really?
Maybe a little bit bigger.
Whom would you credit your major interest in the game? Your dad, or was there a kid on the block, or a neighbor, a coach? Who really got you into it?
My dad inspired me. I was very fortunate when I was a kid because I had a father who was an athlete himself, and he exposed me to all different kind of sports. And he played football for the old Cincinnati Bengals, which is the only professional football team the Cincinnati Ball Club ever had until the Bengals of now. And he played basketball, he played football, and he played baseball. And I was always a water boy for the football team, the bat boy for the baseball team, the ball boy for the basketball team. And he just exposed me to sports.
They say that you're the best conditioned, what are you, 36, 37 now?
37, I don't look at those.
No, I was 37. Me either.
Well, I try to play with a lot of enthusiasm. I'm not worried about getting old for the game of baseball. I think it'd be time for me to hang them up when I lose the enthusiasm to play the game the way the fans think it's supposed to be played. I have a lot of fun when I play baseball.
It's obvious, but I started to say that they say you're the best conditioned athlete your age in baseball. I mean, I've just heard this several times about you. What do you do to get and stay in such great shape? Do you work out real tough during the wintertime? Do you force yourself to that pumping iron kind of threshold?
First of all, I don't smoke or I don't drink, but I don't dislike people who do. You know, Sparky Anderson, our manager, when he came to Cincinnati 8 or 9 years ago, he always drilled into my head that if I would take care of myself, you know, not to wait till I'm 35 or 36, but if I take care of myself when I'm 28 or 29, when it's time for me to retire, I could play a couple, 3 extra years because you took care of myself. But I'm not a big believer of weightlifting and things like that. No. We have the Nautilus equipment in the Riverfront Stadium. You know, I live in Cincinnati, I'm from Cincinnati, and we keep our clubhouse the whole year, so we can go down there and work out on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I do a lot of running, and you know,
running is really good.
Thing, right? Running's good for you.
Now, we're on tape now, which in case this is actually Thursday, but we taped the show last Friday afternoon, which is now.
You mean the Dodgers already beat the Yankees?
We don't know, Pete. We're not really sure about this.
We had to wake them up out there to see if they're listening to us.
So what I wanted to say was, in the paper today, and I don't think there'll be any major development between now and when the show actually airs, it looks as if you're not going to play for Cincinnati next year.
It looks that way. My contract ended after the last game of the season, and I can't become a free agent until the World Series is over. Then I write a letter to the Major League Baseball Players Association stating I'm a free agent. By the way, I might add that our ball club as a whole is going to Japan October the 25th until November the 23rd.
You going along?
Right.
No?
I have to go. I want to go. You know, I did 2 commercials for him over there, so I have to go to get paid. I got to get
hold
my
on
money.
just 1 second. I want to test something right now.
Aquavella, you got it.
Yeah, he does smell like an Aquavella. I just wanted to check.
That'd be a lot of fun because, you know, the Japanese people really take their baseball seriously.
How good are they?
I've never been there before, but you know, I know they got some really good ball players, but I don't think they're as good from top to bottom as we are in the United States.
I've been curious as to when we're going to see our first born-in-Japan player from Japan come and make it as a major leaguer.
We had one several years ago. His name was Masanori Murakami, and he was a pitcher for the San Francisco Giants for about 2 years. This is back in, maybe 68 and 69. And they just couldn't make the money here that they can over there.
Well, let's talk about money for a second. Now, what do you want, Pete? You want to be the highest paid player on the Reds?
No, not really.
No?
Not really. I think my record, you know, I think if you look at my record and analyze my record,
you deserve it.
I think I should be, I think myself or Carl Yastrzemski should be the highest paid player in baseball.
Now, what's the rationale behind that? How do you explain
Well,
it?
I've been in the big league 16 years. I made more All-Star teams. I got more hits. I got more runs scored. I got a higher batting average. I played 4 positions.
Yeah, here's a man, interrupt for a second, he's got one of the best fielding averages in the major leagues as an outfielder. Very few people know that.
Well, they just don't write about things like that. But, you know, my years of experience and what I've did for baseball in general, I love baseball. I'm a great baseball fan. I love football. I love all sports. You know, I'm just a great sports enthusiast, and I follow them all. And I feel now with the hitting streak and accomplishing my 3,000 hit this year that, you know, you work a long time to try to be #1 in your profession. If you don't set out to be #1, you might as well not even play the game. But I think right now, popularity-wise and things like that, that I am at the top of my profession. And as far as talking about the Cincinnati Red contract, I don't think I should be at the top of my profession and be 15th or 16th in payroll.
Is that where you are now?
That's where I am now. It just don't make any sense to me. I mean, I may be wrong. I may be off base, but you know, if you were at the top of your profession, there shouldn't be some guy down the street making a lot more money than you.
Yeah,
you know,
I see this.
We're not asking for any sympathy, because when they offer me $400,000 or $425,000, that's a lot of money. You're not going to starve,
you know,
but it's principle.
It occurs to me, maybe they think Pete Rose wouldn't leave Cincinnati. I mean, here's Pete Rose, a neighborhood kid, grew up in Cincinnati, right?
I got my car packed.
You're ready to move. Huh?
Got my Rolls Royce packed, man.
What kind of team would you like to play for? If you could pick, maybe not a specific team, what kind of a team do you want?
Where are you from?
Philadelphia.
Oh, man, it's a good team.
Like to play for the Phillies.
You said that, I didn't.
Well, let's see. Now, we could trade Mike. Wait, we'll trade Mike Schmidt to Baltimore for Jim Palmer, bring you in at third base.
I can play the outfield now, too, don't forget.
That's true, yeah.
See, I have to go to a team that has 2 things. One, they have to be an offensive team, because I'm an offensive player. I'm a leadoff hitter, and I have to get a lot of at-bats to get a lot of
They got to
base
get you
hits.
on base,
Right.
you're right.
And another thing, I have to go to a contender, because I think I just grew into winning at Cincinnati. We had the winningest team. We got the
4
winningest
World
team,
Series, sure.
winning this team in the 1970s, the Cincinnati Reds. And you know, you get used to winning, or you get used to losing. And I'm not used to losing, so I couldn't go to a team that's going to lose.
Even if the money were great, you wouldn't go to a cellar.
No, I'd go crazy.
Well,
I'd be walking toward the Tallahatchie Bridge.
We don't want to do that.
I just can't.
I dig it. No,
I can't picture a guy going to spring training knowing he's going to lose 100 games. It's strictly I mean, a team going to the spring training on a team that's going to lose 100 is strictly a personal thing. You're playing strictly for yourself.
Being from Philadelphia, you see, I understand what you're talking about there in the early days. We had some rough seasons. We have to take a break for a commercial. It could be one of yours.
Might be.
It might be. And then we'll be back, and I'll take some questions from the audience. Pete Rose continues. Jim Bouton coming up a little bit later on, too. We'll be right back. With us right now, Pete Rose. This is the official, I don't know if there is an unofficial one in existence, but this is the official Pete Rose scrapbook, the lifetimes and streak of Charlie Hustle. Do you like that nickname, Charlie Hustle?
Well, 2 pretty good ball players give me that name, Whitey Ford and Mickey Mantle.
For sure.
Back in 1963 in spring training in Fort Lauderdale. You know, I used to, and I still do, and it's not something I started doing when I got to the big leagues. When I was in high school, when I was in the little leagues, when I got a base on balls, I just, you know, run to first base.
Sure.
I didn't want to give the umpire chance to change his mind. We had some bad umpires back in those days, so one day Mickey Mantle saw me do that, and I guess they just put Charlie on everything, and they said, "Look at Charlie Hustle." And you know, if you do anything in New York, in front of the media in New York, it sticks.
That's
right.
for sure. How about this? We showed a picture coming in, that your head first slide.
Well,
most coaches would not teach a little kid to go into head first slides. Where'd you pick that?
Well, I really wasn't born this ugly. If you slide head first for 16 years, that's what happens to you.
No, I saw some of the shots in this book. You look a little bit like Elvis Presley as a younger guy, but something happened.
See, I slide head first for a lot of reasons. One reason, I think it's the fastest way.
Yeah, it is.
Secondly, I think you don't have to rely on a coach. If I slide into second base, how many times have you seen guys sliding like this and looking up at the moon and the stars and the ball's in the center field, and by the time they get up, the ball's in the third base. I slide my peripheral vision to pick up the ball. The third reason, if you ever get spiked on your arm, who gives a damn? You know, that's not going to bother you. But if you get spiked here, you get spiked here, it supports the weight of your whole body. And probably the biggest reason I slide head first, you usually get your picture in the paper. Other than that, I can't think of any other reason.
Good combination. What records are you gunning for, Pete Rose?
Well, I guess the ultimate record I have is the all-time hit record for the National League is held by Stan Musial, and he has 3,630 hits. I'm right now at I'm at 3164, but I've only played 16 years. I average about 198 hits a year. So if I can play 3 more years, I can.
Yeah, you just missed this year. I was really hoping for you to get that last at-bat to get, would have been your
I needed 2 more, and they took me out of the game after 8. We had an 8-3 lead, and Tom Seaver was the pitcher of record, and they took him out too because the game looked like it was locked up, and they let the old-timers take an inning off. The season's over. And by God, the Atlanta Braves scored 5 runs to tie it up, and I would have got 4 more at-bats, and Tom didn't get the win or nothing.
That's a shame. Who were your heroes when you were a kid? I mean, you, for thousands, we'll say millions of people maybe potentially are a hero. Right now, there may be kids who in 20 years, 15 years are going to be coming into the majors who are really influenced by a guy like you. Who influenced you when you were, say, 8, 9, 10 years old? Gee,
I always looked up to a guy from Philadelphia named Bill Boggs. That's who I always looked up to.
Well, he was a good field, weak hit second baseman
you know,
for the Police Athletic League.
Believe it or not, when I was a little kid, I used to go to all the Cincinnati ball games, and I used to like Johnny Temple.
Yeah, sure.
Who was a second baseman. He was like me. He was real small. See, up till
You're not small, Pete.
I was, though. Up till I was a sophomore in high school, I was always a catcher. And when I graduated from high school in 1960, I weighed 155 pounds.
Jeez.
And now I weigh 200. See, in reality, if I hadn't had an uncle who was a scout for the Reds, I'd have never got a contract. Really, he had to convince the Reds that everybody in my family physically matured late. And I was no exception. I was 19 years old before I started growing.
Until you really filled out and really put on the muscle.
Getting into that baseball and started eating them steaks, I just grew up.
Steaks.
I weighed 155 pounds when I was
You have a couple
restaurants
now, don't you?
Got a couple in Cincinnati, right? A couple pancake houses, like.
Pancakes.
Pancakes, man. A lot of money in pancakes and eggs.
I guess there is.
Steaks cost too much money.
Pancake houses. Hey, we have some videotape of, I believe, let me check my notes here. This is actually breaking the record.
Off of Swan?
That's right, off of Swan.
Yeah.
Set the scene here. Tell us what you were thinking.
Well, I tied the record night before, and Pat Zachary was pitching, who was a pretty good pitcher for the Mets this year. And until I tied the record, he walked off the mound, he kicked something and broke his toe, and didn't pitch no more the rest of the year. And he was with the Reds last year.
It just goes to show you got to stay cool.
His whole career, and he got mad because I got a hit off of him and broke his toe. So the next night, Swan, who throws real hard, was pitching. He got me out the first time up, and I think it's the second time up, and I hit a base hit to left field. And
this broke the...
Tommy Holmes' record, who works for the Mets, by the way.
That's
and
right.
he came on the field and presented the ball to me.
Okay, Jim Shasky, please roll the tape, and we'll take a look.
This is a base hit to left field. This kid throws hard, too. So you can hear the reaction of the fans right now. They were rooting for the Mets, but they were rooting for me.
Which is the way it was all during the streak, yeah.
This kid here, Craig Swan's going to be a fine pitcher.
Now, what are you feeling at a time like this? Is it really on your mind, man, I got to get the hit?
No, I still got 3 more at bats if I'm unsuccessful here. You know, it's only the second time.
And of course, you're batting left-handed here, because.
Hear him?
Yeah.
See, watch me look at the bat right there, and
I think there was a hole in it.
Well, he jammed me. And I looked at the bat, and I had a mark, so I had to choke up a little bit more because he was throwing pretty hard. See, so I'm one of the guys that I make adjustments during the game if I have to. You know, I'm used to having garbage thrown at me in New York, not for him yelling for me to come on. I thought I had a white uniform. I kept looking at myself, saying, is this gray or white? See, Montanez kept wanting to give me the ball for me to give to Tommy Holmes. I said, no, Willie, don't give it to me. He's going to give it to me. Give it to him. He said, here, take it. I said, no, give it to him. He's going to give it to me. I'm not going to give it to him to keep. It's my ball. So finally, he come out and he give the ball to Tommy Holmes.
And there it goes up on the scoreboard. You know, I'm curious, does that, in a way, does it hurt your feelings that a former teammate would be so, teed off that he'd give you a hit that was such an important hit to you?
Oh, no, because he's a competitor. You know, he's out there trying to get me out. He don't want to get in the record books. So I respect him for that.
So it's like you can have friends. I mean, two of your good friends are Bo and Luzinski of the Phillies.
Right.
But when
if
you're
I
on
get a chance to get Bo on a double play, I'll knock him into left field if I can. He knows it, and he respects me for it. Just like it was funny that night going up to bat because Youngblood's sitting over in the dugout, and he's going, "Come on, get a hit, get a hit." And you know, I'm playing against his team, but he wants me to get a hit. I said, "All right, I'll get a hit, and I'll get picked off first. Don't worry about it." You know?
just to get on, right?